All right, guys. So here is the answers to the study guide. Um, so just going to go through it with you. For the first one, we're just doing a translation. So this is pretty simple, but if you have the point A, -3, 2, it's going to be over 1, 2, 3, down 2. So A is going to be right there. And then all we're doing with A is we are translating it. We're going up in the x direction, we're going 2, and then we're going down 6. Okay, so we're going to go over 2. So 1, 2. All right, and then down 6. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so down here, you could also do it by taking the coordinate A of -3, -2. All right, and literally just adding 2 to it. So that would make it A prime B. If you add 2, then that's going to be a -1. And also, it's if we do 2 minus 6, it's going to be -8. So that's going to be the coordinate for A prime. So guys, not too terribly tricky. Over here for the second one, and guys, the problems don't go in order. They're just randomly picked, okay? So if we have like, let's say let's say K at -1, 2, -1, -2. Over here, that's where K is at. This one, we are going 0 in the X direction. So we're not shifting, we're just shifting up 7. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, if we have our coordinate K of -1, -2, all we're doing is we are just going to add 0 here, and we're going to add 7 here, and it gives us our coordinate for K prime, which is going to be -1, and then -2 plus 7 is just going to be 5. So -1, 5 for K prime. So moving on to these guys. These I'm not going to go through and plot every single one just like we did before. Just make sure you know how to do this. I would suggest you guys, it'd be good to just plot the coordinates and do it again, because part of your test is going to be can you do this? You know what I mean? And then part's going to be using GeoGebra. So for this, we have the reflection rule over the x-axis of x comma y, and it goes to x comma, and we make it -y. So for this, like we have the coordinate P at -3, 3. So that's going to be -3 up 3. So right here. So right there. All right, that's going to be P. If you were going to the x-axis, which we're reflecting over, we could just literally count down how many spaces. So if you're having trouble, we could literally just count down, and that's 3 units. And then we could count down another 1, 2, 3 units and find the coordinate for P prime. Or we could just use the reflection rule and do -3, 3. All right, guys, so that is what we're looking for P prime, okay? That's going to be the coordinate is we're going to take this -3, 3. We're going to use this reflection rule and change it so that it becomes -3, -3, okay? So either way, you can find out the coordinate for P prime. All right. I will say that the only one we can't use a reflection rule for are the ones that, like this one, x equals 2. So x equals 2 is the line where we have you find 2 on the x-axis, and then you draw a line right there. So that's that blue line right there. I'm trying to draw it as straight as I can. So that's x equals 2. So this one is one where you just count the distance away, and then you just reflect it over that line. So if we have S is like at 4, 5, so it'd be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So you just count the distance from x equals 2 to that. So guys, you just got to count the distance. So if we're counting here, it is going to be 2 units away. So all we're doing is we are just shifting 2 units the other direction, finding the coordinate of that. All right. So this is for, again, S prime. So that is going to be at 0, 5. All right. So the coordinate for that is just going to be 0, 5. All right. So yeah, you guys just got to go through and find the rest of the coordinates. All right. By plotting them. let's see. Let's go to the next part of it. So y equals -4. Guys, for this, y equals -4, you count down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be this line right here. Okay. And from there, let's find a coordinate of -3, 0. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 0 right there. That's going to be G. All right. And then we just see how far it is away from that line. It's 4 units away. So we're going to go another 4 units down here and get the coordinate for G prime, which that is going to be I'm sorry, this is for F. My bad. So let's get F on there. This is for F. So the coordinate for F prime is going to be -3, and then it's going to be -3, -8. Okay. So guys, that's all you have to do for that one. The next one, this is at line y equals x, or y equals -x, which is kind of funky because it comes in here at a diagonal. So for this one, we use the rule x comma y to move this. All right, x comma y to -y comma -x. All right. So for this one, if we're using 2, 8, it goes to -8, -2. Okay, and that is for n. So the coordinate for n prime is -8, -2. If we have the coordinate m at -2, 6, then the coordinate for m prime is going to be -6, and then we're changing that to a +2 because it's already negative. So that's going to be -6, +2. Okay, so just using the rule here for this one, same thing for O, is at 5, 2. So that changes to -2, -5. All right. So -2, -5. All right. So hopefully you guys can figure out the last one. For 15, we have C prime. So that is the image. We're trying to find the pre-image. So we're going backwards for this one. So and it's a reflection. In this one, our reflection rules are y comma x to, it's going to be, we just switch it around, y comma x. So for this one, we start at -8, -9. All right. And what we're going to do is we just switch these around to -9, -8. Okay. So that just using the rule. And so that is the coordinate for C. All right. Then moving on to the next ones. This is where we're just going to use the rule 270 counterclockwise. So that is going to be x comma y to y comma -x. So we're changing the sign on that x coordinate. So for this, if we start out with k and we have 0, 2, we're going to change that to, this is where it's going to be 2 because we put the y right there. And then 0 never changes its sign because 0 is neither positive or negative. So we just leave it as 2, 0. All right. We move on to L at 1, 8. We're going to change that. We'll put that y coordinate first. That x coordinate comes second, and we change the sign to -1. So for L prime, it's going to be 8, -1. All right. And then if we do M at 7, 7, that's going to change to, we move that 7 right here, and we change this 7, we change the sign of it to -7. So it's going to be 7, comma, -7. Okay, guys. Moving on to this one right here, we're going to use the rule 180 degrees around the origin. So that is going to be x comma y to negative x, negative y. So we just change the sign on those. So if we're starting out with v, it is at -2, -1. So we're just going to change the sign to 2, 1 for v prime. So that's going to be 2, 1. We have, let's do y, because y is kind of tricky. 1, -6, I guess. So we're just going to change both of those signs for y prime. So this is y prime. So y is just going to be 1, -6. Y prime is going to be -1, 6. So y prime -1, 6. And then let's do w. So w is at -5, -2. So that's going to change to 5, 2. Okay, we just changed the sign. So w is going to be 5, 2. All right, guys. Let's move on to, so this one, we're finding the pre-images. So it tells you after a, and this should say 90 degrees. Hopefully it does on your paper. So our rule for 90 degrees is x comma y to negative y x. So for this, we know what the image is. So we put that at 3, 5. So we got to go backwards. So we're going to put that x coordinate, match it up. That's going to become a 5. This comes here and the sign changes. So we make that -3. So it's going to be 5, -3. Then for this next one, it's translation. So it tells us that a prime along the vector 0, -6. All right. So we have a prime at 4, -1. So, and the translation rule is 0, -6. All right, and we're looking for a. So with 0, we don't do anything with it. We just leave it as 4. And then for this one, we're actually going to do the opposite of what the rule says, because if you think about it, like if we start at a and we go to a prime, if we go to a prime down here, like on a coordinate plane, we are just going down 6, right? We're moving in the -6 direction. But if we're going backwards, then we're going to do it in a +6 direction. So we're doing -1, really +6. And then if we do that, that's going to give us 5. So that's going to be the coordinate for A, 4, 5. All right, guys. So next, let's close that out of there. So for the next one, we have, I think there was a transformation in here. So guys, if you have any more questions, let me know. But hopefully this wasn't too challenging. Like I said, part of your test, you're going to be able to use GeoGebra. Part of it, you're just going to have to plot the points and use the rules that we have. So if you have any more questions, please let me know.